So this is our Argonaut dry suit, and when we set out to design our first dry suit, we asked ourselves some pretty serious questions like, is it conceivable that we're going to redesign and come up with some magic new version of the dry suit? And when we looked at what was out there on the market, we realised that actually it was going to be a challenge to do so. So we focused on the areas which were our speciality, our areas of expertise, and our main area of expertise has always been fabrics. And we've looked at several different fabrics, and we actually introduced two fabrics to the recreational diving market. One was a trilaminate fabric, a butyl layer bound with two polyester outer layers, which allowed for much greater flexibility than standard, if you like, cordura type dry suits. It was lighter and had a little bit of flex to it, but incredibly hard wearing. The second one, which in my opinion is arguably more exciting, is the breathable Kevlar reinforced fabric that has it is incredibly lightweight, incredibly tough, and also has the benefit of being breathable above the surface. So if you're somewhere where it's a warm sunny day, you're carrying gear, you're going to be perspiring pretty heavily before you hit the water, and the net result of that is that you've got 100% humidity inside your dry suit. Now, when you hit the water, suddenly your dry suit is going to be cooled by the water on the outside, and that moisture vapor inside your dry suit is condensed on the inside of the suit, forms water, and essentially you're already damp inside your dry suit. The objective of this fabric was to allow moisture vapor to pass out through it before the dive, so that you were drier inside the suit before hitting the water, and therefore had less condensation on the inside of the suit. So that's where we started the development of our dry suit, and then we started to think about aspects of design which had frustrated us in our in our ownership of dry suits in the past, and we started to look for new technologies and what was going on. When we started developing this, there were several brands which had adopted the T-zip, a plastic zip from Germany, and we started to look at this zip also. And during the process of which we discovered another plastic zip that had a little bit better flexibility performance, and so first thing that we adopted that is unique to our suit was this plastic zip. It's very flexible. It's just as good in terms of its performance with regard to being dry as the traditional brass zipper. But the result for the diver is a much more comfortable experience. The zip is less stiff, and also it allows a greater flexibility, a greater freedom of movement. So we adopted that zip right from the start, and also started to look at other aspects, other areas where suits in the past, or suits that we knew of, had started to fail and give up. And one of the critical areas was the crotch, where many designs of dry suits have a seam which crosses in the middle of the crotch, and that causes a huge amount of stress on the fabric and on the seams at that point, with fabric moving in all sorts of different directions. And so we came up with a different design in the crotch, which actually only has one seam running through the crotch. The other seams that are required to make the trouser legs work actually run around the edge of the overlay, and we're able to achieve this by having a completely independent piece of fabric here as the overlay, and that doubles as being redundant fabric in an area which traditionally gets a lot of wear as the diver's legs move and work against each other. Potentially there's a lot of abrasion here. So by putting a redundant piece of fabric in here, which isn't part of the waterproof integrity of the suit, we're actually protecting the inner layer, which is part of the waterproof integrity of the suit. But principally the objective of this was to ensure there was only one seam running through the rise, and therefore minimise the incidence of leaks in the crotch. So we set out to produce a suit that was breathable, and there are other breathable suits on the market. In fact, when you start looking at the dry suit market, you realise how difficult it is. There are so many people working away in a very specialised niche, a niche area of the market, And you realise just how many of us look at each other's products, take ideas that they like, work on these ideas, and eventually what you end up with is a relatively similar looking dry suit. And you have to look into the detail to see where the differences come from, where the differences arise. The cross-zip telescopic torso design, which we have used here, is not, it can be found on many other dry suits. It's because it works. It's almost as if natural selection has kind of taken its toll in the evolution of the design of a dry suit. And every now and then there will be a wacky design which might succeed or it might not succeed. But fundamentally, the successful designs are the ones that work, and the ones that their genetics, if you like, inform the design of all the other products that are out there. So it comes to us to try and improve in areas where we think where we think there is opportunity to do so. The pockets are a good example of this. They have a D-ring, a heavyweight D-ring and a lighter weight D-ring positioned out of the way of the diver's hand when reaching in for something, to prevent them from actually catching their fingers in the D-ring whilst reaching into the pocket. Wet note sleeve and a generous bellows pocket there, with bungees on the inside of a zipped top pocket in order to secure the equipment and secure whatever you need. Another feature of this suit is that it comes with these high visibility bungee loops that one can simply fit onto the D-rings in order to be able to secure equipment, to be able to actually take it out of the pocket to see what you've got without the risk of dropping it and losing it. So that's something that this removable bungee system is something that we devised and came up with and introduced. And that is the level at which, that's the level, frankly, at which dry suit design has reached, in that it is relatively straightforward to make a dry suit. Making it comfortable, flexible, making it perform in all ranges of mobility, that's where the trick comes. And then the next level of that is fine-tuning all those other little details. One of the areas where we wanted to change things as well is how people would buy the dry suit. And what we offer is, rather than starting with a basic model and bolting on a pocket here and a pocket there and it being an extra to have a boot change, rather than starting with a basic standard product, this is what one would receive as standard, with two technical pockets, one's choice of boots from a 4mm compressed neoprene boot, a 2mm compressed neoprene boot for those who want a little bit more flexibility but aren't necessarily going to be doing huge amounts of clambering over the rocks, or indeed a neoprene sock, a compressed neoprene sock for somebody who preferred to use rock boots. There's no difference in the price. Equally, if you're a size large but a little bit short for a size large, having leg length modifications and arm length modifications comes as part of the standard price. So what we wanted to do was to present a model whereby people felt they were going to get some amount of customized fit to their specification, but they didn't feel like they were paying any more than the guy who could walk into the shop and buy the standard one off the shelf. So that's another aspect that we have changed with the way we've developed our suit in order to help it to draw a difference from other ones on the market. Fundamentally, however, the suit fits well, performs well, is flexible, and in this case, incredibly lightweight. So for the travelling diver who wants to take their dry suit somewhere exciting, like Silfra in Iceland, or perhaps they want to go to Norway and dive the wrecks in Norway, they want to take their dry suit with them, the men's size large dry suit weighs less than 4 kilograms. That has a huge impact on one's ability to travel with it. The seams of this dry suit are all double reinforced, taped on the inside, and then every seam is also taped again on the outside to protect that seam's integrity, making an incredibly strong, durable seam. This outer material here is also used to protect the key wear areas on the elbow and on the knees. And as such, it becomes a very, very durable, hard-wearing suit with minimal reinforcement where you need it. So that enables it to maintain its lightweight performance and comfort without feeling stiff and restricted.